Welcome to Forged in Silence podcast, episode
Episode
5.
5. Episode 5.
Here we are, episode
Yeah, I know.
5.
I know we said we were going to do one twice a month, and here we are doing once a week now because it's now my school project. Uh, I am at the point today, so I've been struggling to be motivated all freaking day today. Uh, I don't want to be here. Would prefer I tried to get a couple guests on earlier today, but life has been crazy for a bunch of people that I know that I've I waited to the last minute to ask them to be on, so I didn't have to try and help carry a show. Like that is the honest truth. Like I could use a shave too.
Yeah, me too.
It's gonna be one of those episodes, Robbie.
It is. Well, you know, podcasting is therapy. We get to sit here and
Yeah,
discuss our problems with each
I'm
other.
emotionally fried. I am just fried by uh, and I didn't have schoolwork this week, generally schoolwork this week because it's spring break. But I had to finish a speech. I went to Zion to try and get away for a little bit and do some hikes, which was nice, except for like I've got a friend whose dog is extremely sick, and so like I'm gone and I'm away, and I care about her and her dog a lot. And so, like, I'm not generally a worrier. Most of the time, things are what they are. There's not too much I can do. I worried. And so when I was out on a hike, I found myself thinking and worrying about the stuff. I wasn't present, is what I wasn't. I found myself thinking and worrying about how's the dog? How's she doing? What's going on there? And I don't have cell phone signal, and normally I love it when that happens. So I got back that night, and as much as I had fun doing it, I was also like wishing I was somewhere else. And that's a tough place to be in. And then come Friday I hiked the Narrows, which was amazing. And because you're so busy watching everything you're doing and just in awe of that, I was able to separate myself. Like my mind was too busy as with where I was than it was to concentrate on not being present because there was just too much awe to, and you just had to pay attention to every step you took because all you did was walk upriver for like, I don't know, 5 miles one way. So, but, I drove back that night and then it was 4 o'clock the next morning. I'm up and I'm going to uh, Emerge Vet with my friend and her dog. And Friday, then my dog hops the fence and shows a shit ton of aggression towards my landlord and nips him, and I can't have that here in this house. I can't do that with my kids coming. The dog's already apprehensive against kids, and now the dog's doing that, and I can't. So I make the phone call on Saturday morning, and I'm driving, and by really early Saturday afternoon, I'm dropping my dog off, the one that I rescued and had for 5 months. So it's like shit show after shit show, dog show. It's lonely here now. Dropping the dog off was fucking heartbreaking. I'm watching the dog, and the dog is terrified of these people. And the dog's looking up at me, and she's not liking the lady that was gonna take her back to the kennel. And so she asked me if I would walk her back. So I walked the dog back, and the dog, you could see the look on the dog's face. Like, where are we going? This is bullshit. And then she'd look up at me, and I'm still walking that way. So she's like, okay, here we go. Like, pure trust, right? And She walks right in the crate, right in the kennel, and then like I take her leash off, and as soon as that door closed, I was racing to get my ass out of there so I could start crying. So I didn't have to cry in front of the lady that I didn't know. So I could cry by myself in the parking lot. And as soon as the door closed, and as soon as I was out of that building, the rain started pouring down out of my eyes. I'm tired. I'm emotionally tired. Just like I can't take enough deep breaths this morning. I'm like, have a bath, move slow around. I went outside, took my shirt off just so I can get as it's sunny out and just so I could get as much vitamin freaking D as I possibly could, cleaning up the yard because the yard's got dog leftovers in it. By dog leftovers, I mean dog shit.
Little nuggets of joy.
Oh yeah, I mean they still got to get cleaned up, and she liked to chew on stuff, so it's the front yard's a little bit of a mess, and you know, obviously, as soon as I heard about that, I'm calling my landlord and wondering how he is, and wondering how much shit I'm gonna get into there, right? Like, how far is that gonna go? What's that gonna look like? I'm not used to how things work here in the States, and so. Like, am I gonna get my ass sued? Am I gonna get a? I'm like, ooh. Like all of the shit that goes through my mind. Anyways, nothing, no problems, no issues there. My landlord's great, fantastic. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better landlord. But before my landlord was gonna tell me what they thought I should do with the dog, I figured it was my job to tell them what I was gonna do with the dog.
I was gonna say something because you fixed the problem before it needed to be dealt with by your landlord, right?
Yep.
You took the initiative and said, I got to get rid of this dog. Thinking about that, that's not easy. It's still not easy for you to give up the dog that you've had for 5 months that you cared for.
Mm, mm,
But you showed the initiative. And, I'm putting on the landlord hat. And if the first conversation I have with my tenant and the tenant says the dog's going to wherever it's going, it won't be a problem anymore. As the landlord, I don't really have much to say after that. Can we hash out the what happened? Yeah, we could, but you've really already fixed the problem. And unless the landlord was like, this this was the last straw or whatever, and you got to leave or whatever type of thing. But yeah, just showing that initiative, that's really being a man and fixing the problem right away, not letting it. I mean, you came home on a Friday. It happened on a Friday. You came home on a Friday. Saturday, a dog was gone within 24 hours of what happened.
yep. I mean, I don't even really know what they were gonna say. I got my kids here coming here in the summer, and if there's anything that I have a concern for is, the dog is already apprehensive around children, so I already had a little bit of worry there, and this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I think it was going to break the camel's back regardless, but I cannot have that sort of aggression around the children or that even.
Yeah.
So really, that's where the basis for my decision came from. I mean, I can come to this conclusion so many different ways, and anytime I look at it or anytime somebody gives me a different perspective, I always end up in the same spot. And what I like to do when I have a tough decision ahead of me is sleep on it. Because I don't like to pull triggers really fast based on an emotional response. Give me some logic here. This one I think deserved the trigger pulled before I slept on it. This one was one of those. It doesn't need any more air than it already has. I mean, the decision just needs to be made, regardless of how hard it is. It was hard. It was hard because I mean, I even had to take I have a roommate, so I have to take her thoughts into account
Yep.
and her thoughts more or less her feelings because she knew what I was gonna say before I said it. And as soon as I said it, she was like, "Fuck, that's kind of what I thought you were gonna say." And I don't know, I went over to Julie's yesterday and hung out with her. She was having one of those days where, like, her dog was in really bad shape yesterday. She's perked up a little bit today, but she was having one of those days where she just didn't want to be alone. You know those days. And today I'm having that day. Today I'm having that day where everything's just a little bit itchy. I think it's different when you look at like emotional exhaustion versus physical exhaustion. I'm not physically tired. My body can go ahead and do things, but just like my heart's heavy today, my mind's heavy today. I've got some schoolwork that I know I have to get done. Uh, and I've got a bunch of that done. I'm looking forward to, I got my speech done, Robbie.
Nice.
And the topic of my speech is modern masculinity. And I feel like I did a good job with it for, it's only supposed to be 6 to 7 minute speech, but I feel like I did a really good job with it. My teacher did give me permission to live stream when I do the speech in front of the class on it's probably on Wednesday, but I'm venturing a guess with all of the amount of students in there when we were doing our 3 to 4 minute speech earlier, we went 2 classes long to get them finished up. So I imagine this is going to be a 2 week long process, whether I get in week 1 or week 2, I don't know.
Well, first, I want to commend you for first doing what you had to do with your dog, and second, being there for someone that's in need. Or when I when I read your message, I was doing some stuff with my daughter, and I was just like, shit. And my mind went to what the old us would have done. And I've done this before. I had a dog that I rescued, and the dog didn't show signs of aggression, but the dog was fucking crazy. Like I was at my sister's house, so I rescued the dog here from South Dakota. I was still living in Colorado. I got a message, hey, there's this older couple, they have this dog. It's a half cattle dog, half something mix. They can't take care of it. It's got too much energy. Do you want the
Mm-hmm.
dog? I was like, okay, cool. The person met me with the dog, took the dog home, was fine for a while. Uh, then this dog just, I mean, I have a dog that has a lot of energy now,
Yep.
but this dog was like 5 times what this dog has of energy
No
wise.
way, really?
Yeah. Like the dog was, I would take it out running. I could never get it tired. So in the morning, I'd wake up and I'd get in the car at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive the car around the block or ride my bike around the block. I'm driving 30 miles an hour and the dog's right next to me.
Really?
Yeah. And we could do that. I couldn't get the dog tired. With my dog Lucy now, if I did that enough times, Lucy'd be like, okay, we're done.
Right.
This dog would just start foaming at the mouth. And I was like, this is odd. And then I started realizing this wasn't a healthy way to get this dog's energy out. It needed to do something else. Like
Mm-hmm.
just trying to go out there and run it to death wasn't the right way to get his energy out. I tried multiple things, just nothing was working. And one day I was at my sister's house and she's having a little family party. And I'm outside with my sister's boyfriend. We're standing at the grill and all of a sudden I hear this big loud like flop. Then I hear a dog whine and my other older dog, Bailey, was outside. So it wasn't her. And then my sister comes out and she goes, your dog just jumped off the upstairs loft onto the living room floor. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, sure, your dog's okay. Nothing happened to her. I'm like, that's like 20 feet. And she goes, I know. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Really?
So then uh, I'm getting ready to move here to South Dakota. And, you know, I'm like, I can't take this dog with me. Like, I can't have this added um, thing, really thing, to make it more complicated with the move. And Bailey was fine. We could figure out Bailey, but this dog I couldn't figure out. And so I was in my mom's house living there, getting ready to move here, and I was cleaning out my car. And the room I was staying at was on the second floor. I had the window open. So the dog was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I go out, start working on the car. Next thing I know, the dog's right by my side.
Dog jumped out the damn window.
Well, I was like, what the hell? So I go in and I'm like, Mom, did you let the dog out? She's like, looking at me, no. So I put the dog back inside, right?
Shit.
Walk
Okay.
back out to the car. I watch the dog come flying out the window. And I was like, okay. So I get a hold of this rescue. Um, it was one of those types of rescues where you gave them a donation and they, you know, help place your dog somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So get a hold of them. A couple days later, this lady's like, hey, we're a foster. We're here in right outside of Denver. Bring your dog over. We'll find a home for your dog. She's like, bring your dog over. We have other dogs here. I just want to make sure they're good with my kid. The dog's good with my kids and all this stuff. I'm like, okay. Take the dog over. Everything's good. Lady's like, okay, can leave the dog once we find someone that takes the dog. We'll send you the paperwork. You sign it and it's done. I get back home to Fort Collins and the lady's like, hey, you need to come pick up your dog. I'm like, what? She goes, I'm sorry, but after you left, your dog got super aggressive with our other dogs. I'm like, this dog has never like showed aggression in his life. She's like, I don't care. Come pick up your dog. Go pick up the dog. She's like, we'll keep looking. I'm like, okay. Thinking this is like crazy. I had that, guilt and shame
Mm-hmm.
that I'm sure you're having a little bit like, what could I have done different? All those things, right?
God.
All the
What can I have
thousand.
done different? This is the second dog I've tried within 2 years, within 1 year. The second, and this dog got aggressive. The first one was aggressive. This one was aggressive, and I'm going like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I start blaming myself, right? Like I'm trying to find my fault in this. Where's my fault that's being reflected in these dogs?
Yeah.
Like, why? And then I go into victim mentality, like, why me? Why? Like, what is so wrong with me that like I pick these unhealthy dogs basically. Like I'm not meant it's yesterday I was doing this after I just I'm just not meant to have a fucking dog,
Yep.
you know? And just this is the cards. I was on the phone and I go, I just want like a dog to be my dog, to go and do the things and not, tear shit up. Like I don't mind if you chew on shit, but come on. And you get down on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You do. You
Mm-hmm.
get down on yourself. And it's
Yep.
not the healthiest way to do things. It's fine if you do it. It happens. It's just how long are you going to stay there? I don't stay in those places for very long anymore. I know they're not helpful. I know it's not going to do me any good to sit in that place of self-pity. I was in self-pity mode. Like, I mean, just be sad. It's okay to be sad.
It's okay.
Um, and that's tiring.
Very.
Like it's a lot. I don't think we acknowledge that enough. Like it's tiring. It's tiring to I don't know. I always go back to carrying emotional weight seems to be a lot harder to do and heavier to do than it is to carry regular weight.
I agree with that. Something I often think about is, you were saying you're physically fine, but
Uh-huh.
mentally exhausted. Physically, we can feel physically, like we can actually feel that. I'm not saying we can't feel that emotionally, But we know when, you can't put the same output in. You're not at 100% of what you could do. We can watch the fuel gauge go down.
Yep.
Things that I'm learning with the emotional side, like you were talking about, how long can I sit in it? The longer I sit in it, of course, the more shame, guilt, pity I have on myself. But I've
Yep.
noticed if I don't sit in it very long now,
Hmm.
I can watch that gauge go to empty just like that.
Hmm.
Where if I sit in it, I can watch that gauge just go slow and slow and slow because I'm fighting it. I'm telling myself that story over and over. Everything's okay.
Yep.
Whatever happened, I didn't do. I'm the victim. The whole thing. Poor me. Whatever. But now it's like, fuck. Watch that gauge go from wherever to empty. And for me, I know it's something new for me. I I used to fight it for so long that I got really good at fighting it, so I could keep that gauge just right there where I needed it. But now, and we've talked about this before, like when I get emotionally exhausted, like I'm done. And you were talking about some self care stuff. We, hear a lot of women talking about self care, you know, pedicures, manicures, getting their hair done, all that stuff. That is good for, self worth and some other things. But for us men, like what do we have for self care that can make us feel better? That brings our masculinity back, brings us back to where we feel somewhat normal.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Hopping in a tub for me is nice. It's relaxing. It stops me from trying to actively do my way out of the way I'm feeling, if that makes any sense. Then, like, I've got a lot of dog stuff to clean up, so there's grief.
Yeah.
And yesterday I did a little bit of it, and then I was just like, fuck that. I'm done with this. I just don't want it. I don't want to. I got a friend that needs some help too. I'll take care of it another day. It was kind of a great excuse to avoid things. And I mean, today she offered me to go back up to her place, and I said, no, as much as I don't want to be alone today, because that's a definite feeling and a definite need. I also feel like if I was to continue to do that, I would move into just avoiding the things that I need to actually face.
You need to sit in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's I need to allow myself to be here in the feeling, and it's not bad. Like I'm still getting stuff done,
Yep.
but I need it to exist.
Yep.
The worst thing I've learned is that if I don't allow it to exist, I just end up suppressing it, which means it still exists. I just acknowledge that it's not there anymore. I've done this before, and it's a really unhealthy way to do things because I'm gonna unpack it one day, or I'm just gonna end up being angry because avoiding all of this that shit leads me to be angry or depressed.
Yep.
Is what where it leads me. I know this. I've experienced it enough times. It leads me to go and do shit that I don't mean to do, and then I end up having to apologize for it and blah 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 blah. It's messy. It's messy. So I could stay in my own mess. And so what I did was is I took my shirt off. I know there's things that I know that are good for me. I know that if I go outside and I get some sun and it's a sunny day, I'm going to feel a little bit better. I know if I take my socks off and put my feet on the ground, I've experienced this enough times. I don't care if anybody thinks this is hocus pocus shit. Try it. Literally, take your socks off, go put your feet in the grass for 10 or 15 minutes. Just stop. Don't move. 10 or 15 minutes and observe how you feel. Then when you're done in the grass, go ahead, go do whatever you need to do. And then observe how you feel in about an hour. I almost guarantee you will feel better. Like 95% chance that you will feel better than you did before you did that. And it works for me every time. I don't know. Exchange of energy with the ground. It was great. I did that while picking up dog crap and grieving the dog.
Yeah.
But I had the sun on my back because I knew that was going to be good for me. Getting outside, getting some sun. I have an itch to go. I had an itch to go and hike, get outside, go, get in nature. I've been in nature a bunch. I have shit to do. If
Yeah.
I go out and hike right now, I'm just avoiding the stuff that I
Avoiding.
need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to do that right now. What I need to do is I need to take care of some of the things that I'm trying to avoid to do so I can lessen the mental weight of my to-do list. Because the to-do list doesn't go away, and I need for some of that mental weight to find a home outside in the done pile.
Yeah. You bring up something interesting where me with my running, where I had to take a break from it. The same exact thing. I just kept finding another problem to run away from,
Yep.
literally run away until I decided to, you know, knock off some of those things on that to do list. They were all stuff that needed to be unpacked, put away somewhere,
Mhm.
not put away, come back to look at them, that kind of stuff. I often wonder why, as a society, and this could go either way, like we're told to, when we're having those hard times, to go do something. Um, I want to ask the question, like, how did you learn those tools of going, putting some sun on your back and, you know, doing a little bit of grounding? How did you come to find that works for you or helps?
The grounding thing was like there was a documentary on it, some guy, I forget his name, but who talked about grounding and how it helps with your joints and it helps exchange like negative ions, and he talks about the shoes we wear and how they're not good for us because we don't connect with the earth. And like I thought it was kind of bullshit when I first saw that, and I was like, well, you can't say something is bullshit unless you actually do it, right? Unless you the try the thing, right? And so I did. Do you remember, was it last summer when I ran a mile a day for 30 days?
Yep.
Uh, my ritual at the end of every mile was to ground. So I would take my shoes off after the run and I would put my feet in the grass and I'd time myself. So I'd give myself 5 minutes and give myself 5 minutes to just ground. And I noticed a difference between doing that and not doing that. So when I feel stressed and I feel itchy, one of the things that I do is I go outside and I'll put my feet on the ground. And like I said, it sounds hocus pocus. It does. It sounds like kind of weird and ridiculous, but it works every time. I'm telling you, that anxiety, the itchiness feeling, the uncomfortable inside, the stuff I can't put names to feels better when I come back. So I I learned that from trying something new, from something I saw on a social media thing, and then getting some sun. Just sun. I know sun is good for you. I know sun vitamin D is like the happy vitamin. The shit's free,
Yeah. It
right?
is free. Yeah.
It's free. All you gotta do is go outside and let the sun hit your skin and your eyes. You know what I mean? Like, don't
Yep.
stare at the damn thing. But I think the more important question is we know what things are good for us. We understand that if I do this, it's good for me. It's making the choice to actually go and do it. Whereas before I used to never, it's like, oh man, I should go and do this thing because I know it's good for me. But no, I'm going to avoid that version of self-care and I'm just going to continue to do things because it's required of me in my life instead of take the 10 minutes out of my day or 15 or an hour to refill my cup a little bit, exchange some energy with the ground and like recenter so I can show up in a better way. Yeah, and I did that before here, and I was still like experiencing the grief. I had to, I parked my truck in the garage, or sorry, not the garage, in the driveway, but I had the gate all closed up, so the dog had more space. But now I can park in the driveway again, and it's just like the simple little things. I don't have. She's been on all 4 episodes before episode 5, one way or another. And it's just, I'm still dealing with that loss right now.
Yeah. Loss is hard.
Yeah, even if it's a dog, as simple as that sounds, I think most people that have pets can understand that.
Yeah. I rescued a cat from my work last year, and cat's been great. Daughter moved in. One day, let the cat out. Cat didn't come back. A couple days went by, and my daughter started really getting upset that the cat was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to, stay in her room by herself. The cat became a little escape for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched her go through this, and like I was talking about, I've lost animals before, but now being, present and, having some understanding about my emotions, I was like, this is really hurting her. This cat
Mm-hmm.
being gone is really hurting her. She'd ask me, can we go drive around looking for the cat? So every morning we go drive around, look for the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday we spent a long time looking for the cat. Then one day we were going to get coffee in the morning, and we drove by the mailbox and we saw a picture of the cat on the mailbox. And there was a phone number, and
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, I'm like, text the person. Long story short, we get the cat back. The cat was 50 yards away the whole time. And
Oh God.
yeah, what really pisses me off is my daughter would go out there in the morning and in the evening calling the cat in. So this neighbor could probably hear her if this neighbor was outside
Right.
calling for a cat, but decided that
That must not be that cat.
whatever, right? And I guess where I'm going with this is we all get caught up in our own things, and this person probably thought that they were doing a good thing by maybe rescuing this cat that had a collar on that lives less than 50 yards away. You know what I mean? Like, because when I got there, he had taken the collar off, and I'm like, oh. Like my mindset goes, if there's a cat in my yard with a collar on, and someone owns it. There's a dog in my yard with a collar on, someone owns it.
Right.
If it doesn't have a collar on, we may have discussion about it. But anyways, going back to the loss part of it, my daughter was already suffering a loss, and just adding this cat was really tearing her up. And I would try to, I was there for her and all this other stuff, and I did everything I could. We got the cat back, but when we have something that gives us something, your dog was in the last 4 episodes of this podcast. Now we're start a new chapter without the dog in the podcast.
Yep.
It hurts. It pulls our emotions, and what we do with those emotions makes us who we are. You and I have learned so much. Just you 4 years, for me 2 years, on what I like to call emotional free. Have freedom with our emotions now.
Yeah.
And listening to you tell me how you were dealing with it, and just took ownership right away, did what you had to do with the dog, even though you knew it was going to sting and hurt. You didn't hem haw around. You could still have the dog going, well, should I get rid of it? Should I not? Dealing with, the friend with the dog, you know, like you got two dogs you're dealing with, your own and this other one. And this other one's been taking a little bit of precedence over your own dog.
Yep.
And it just shows you where you're at as a human now. You understand what we need, what you want, what someone else needs, without even have to say the word. Then it turn around and shit, this is my loss now. What do I need? I know a lot of, this is something I'm really trying hard to teach my daughter. And it's really hard to teach someone this because we have to experience it, right? And that's why you and I are here right now is, if any men are out there and listening to this and we sound like two women talking about something, Uh, like, put away your ego and whatever's calling you or whatever you need to fix, start taking those small steps to fix it. We know we can't fix everything.
Mhm.
If you and I could fix everything, we would have fixed a lot of stuff already.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but we've if we fixed everything, where would that leave us?
I have no idea.
I think I'd be more fucked. I think I'd be more fucked
Probably.
because you know what I'd be doing? I'd be going trying to find new stuff to fix. That's just me.
Probably. Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah,
Just
you're
me.
not wrong there. You're not wrong there. Go out and break something on purpose.
Right.
That would be a massive ego stroke, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Life.
We're just about at the 40-minute mark again, dude.
I know.
That's pretty wild how time. I know I did most of the talking on this episode, but I think this is what we talk about. This is what we mean when we talk about like men's mental health, right?
Yep.
Is, like shit happens, bad things happen. I know one of the things that I like doing is supporting the people that I care about and being available and doing those sort of things. That feels like a manly thing to do, showing up. And I think at the same time, a manly thing to do is show up for yourself.
Yeah. You know, it's really hard to show up for ourselves, especially if we don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
I
I was
think
just about
it's
to say that too.
yeah, it's really, really fucking hard to show up for ourselves. We can show up for someone else pretty easy,
Mm-hmm.
but to show up for ourselves it's hard. It's like where you're talking about the emotional, being exhausted. That's showing up for yourself. That exhaustion is you showing up. You didn't put it away. You didn't push it off. You could be somewhere else right now. You could be hiking. You could be with, friend with dog issues too. You could be a lot of places, but you're not.
Yep.
You're checking off stuff off that to-do list, even though you don't want to. And we know um, this is just a little bump in the road.
So that's all it is.
And when you sent me that text, I said everything happens for a reason. I'm a huge believer in
Mm.
that.
Yeah, me
And
too.
when you talked about your kids,
Yep.
this saved it. This
Oh,
saved a whole lot of shit for you with your kids and this dog.
that's entirely possible. I mean, yeah. I don't know that I have much for words outside of that, and you're probably right. It takes the decision out of my hands later on in life. It's an opportunity to try and do the right thing before maybe the wrong thing happens and take the message. There's regardless of what happens for us, we can find something good that will come out of it. I don't care if it's bad. There's something good that can come out of it. There's a lesson. There's a new piece of me that I'll find. I can see today that I'm doing things I know that are good for me, and it's more of a natural thing today than it ever was because I've practiced it a whole bunch. I've got it wrong a whole bunch of times too. It's one of those things, and in my speech I talk about mental well-being and finding a community and actively managing your stress. By actively managing your stress, the key word in there is active, right? You're doing
Yeah.
something about it, even if that is just the fact that you're acknowledging that it exists and you're having a conversation, plain and simple. It doesn't take a lot. It's not as hard as it looks. The hardest thing to do is find the language for it and practice it. And that's it. We're at 44, dude. So
Wrap it up.
let's wrap it up. Just want to say to those men out there, if you need help, the second hardest thing to do is ask for it. The hardest thing to do is accept it.
Yep.
So reach out. There's people out there that care. If you feel like nobody does, you can find us on Instagram, Forged in Silence Podcast. Thanks for being here with us today. And hopefully next week we will have Julie and Amy on with us, or Kenny. It'll be one of those. We'll have guests this time. I'm hoping for Julie and Amy, and then Kenny maybe the week after. And we're gonna have a really cool conversation for you guys coming up for sure. That's it. Have a good week. We'll be back next week. Peace.